For working with my clients for the past couple of years and actually building my own YouTube funnel, I can see that most business owners overcomplicate YouTube like absolute hell. Most people say generic advice like post every single day or grow your audience, but that rarely works if you have an offer anything above 2k to 5k. My name is Juuso and my main thing is I help business owners get results for their business via YouTube. We've worked with all kinds of niches in the past. We've worked with all kinds of markets, real estate, high ticket, low ticket, coaching, consulting, anything like that, and we've actually seen what moves the needle when it comes to YouTube. So in this video I'm going to show you the 5 things that consistently lead to micro influencers booking the most calls when it comes to B2B rather as macro influencers. Let's get into it. So the first thing I want to cover, especially with micro influencers, is that their micro channel is worth 1,000 times more than a macro channel of some large influencer. Because the misconception I see is that, especially with B2B, they think they need a large audience, think they need a big viewer base, but that's true, but it's true for B2C. Whereas we work in B2B. For example, you have a channel which has 2,000 subscribers. Depending on if that's B2C, if that's B2C, it's absolutely horrible. But whereas if that's B2B and those are qualified subscribers, so they actually like what you talk about and they want to buy from you, that's of course 1,000 times worth more than some B2C channel with 100,000 subscribers. So you can think of it this way. You can have your 100,000 subscriber channel or you can have $100,000. Now I know which way I'm leaning in, but that's up to you if you want to think about that more. So B2C growth, it's a real thing. I'm not telling you to not have a lot of subscribers, but just make sure those are actually qualified buyers instead of just some fanboys or friends of yours or your editor, you know? Thing 2 is you need to be strategic when it comes to your content ideas. So this is probably the biggest thing people in B2B struggle with, and I struggle with until I started booking some calls. So with B2C, you can kind of go experimental when it comes to the content. But with B2B, you can't just create a content piece you got in your head at 2 a.m. You actually need to research if it's something interesting your audience might be interested in. And the number one thing you can find out if your audience actually likes the idea is look at your sales calls and look at what your clients ask you about. So for example, I just had a recent sales call where a guy asked me about how we do our thumbnails even without the face of the prospect. So for example, when I have sales calls, I usually give them some free values, for example, like a free thumbnail, free script, free idea, stuff like this. So he was just asking like, how did I create that thumbnail without his face? Because it wasn't like an uncanny match. It was one-to-one match of him. So he was just thinking like, how the hell did you do that? So what I did was I took that question and I turned that into a video. So I just did a video on Nano Banana Pro and how you can create a thumbnail in 5 minutes using it. But the main thing I had holding me back from making that video was, are business owners actually going to be interested in doing that? Because they can just hire some jackass from Fiverr to do it. So many things pushing back against that I had to make the video. Because if you hire some jackass from Fiverr, one is a jackass from Fiverr. Like, Fiverr isn't the best place to go look for a thumbnail designer. 2, he may not know what he's doing. So the result might be bad. So you don't get any clicks. 3, you're paying money and having to observe a man who does a job for you. Rather as you spend 5 minutes of your day. You know your topic, you know your idea. Go on to Nano Banana Pro, you create a thumbnail, it's done, it's your face, everything looks good, no mistakes. Because AI rarely makes mistakes if you just prompt it good. So that's how you get your idea. So either via your sales calls or if you are more personal with your clients, you can see what they ask about and what they, for example, have issues with. And then just doing your ideas that way and turning that into content rather as you having some brilliant idea at 2 a.m. and then deciding, oh yeah, this is going to be the content piece that's going to get me 30 booked calls. No, it's never like that. It's never ever like that. The third thing is trust is at an all-time low right now, so stay the fuck away from flashy editing and flashy production. Right now, especially in the info space, trust is at an all-time low and bullshit is at an all-time high. So you go onto YouTube and Twitter or IG, everyone's made everyone's clients $100 billion or they've done this and this and this, they're a market genius and da 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 da. So trust is an all-time high because everyone bullshits nowadays. Everyone over-exaggerates their client results, their testimonials, da 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 da. So nobody trusts anyone anymore. So the key I see, which a lot of people have talked about, is just authenticity. That's one thing. But also, the more you lean into that high production, high editing kind of style, the more it reminds them of everything's just fake nowadays. So stay away from flashy editing. That doesn't mean your production has to be low value. Getting a good microphone, a good camera, good lighting will make the difference of night and day when it comes to your production. So don't be shirtless on your videos, just talking over some bullshit. Unless you're actually like a top tier guy. So like for example, Mark builds brands. He can get away with that stuff because he's the fucking man when it comes to that stuff. So just having a clean, professional, concise, coherent production style, which you have a good mic, you have a good camera, and you have good lighting. That's pretty much what you need. So you don't have to pick either bad or good. It's just that try finding a middle ground between not being Mr. Beast and not just being some jackass who films every single video he has on his fucking mattress or bed or something. Number 4 is sustainability, building results rather as you trying to burn yourself out with content. So I saw this great tweet the other day. I'm gonna try to find it on screen. And it goes over like two people having a conversation. And it goes like, person 1 says, oh yeah, if you want to grow, you have to post every single day for a year straight and just do that and just content sprint for a whole full year. And what the second person does is he does that, but later on he finds out like, bro, I didn't get any booked calls, I didn't get any results, I didn't do anything with the business. It didn't help in any way whatsoever. So person 1 asks like, did you apply feedback? Did you look over the videos? Did you go over the metrics? Did you actually improve the videos or in any way? Or did you just sprint the videos because you had to, because it's a challenge and you just wanted to get it over? There's a huge difference between you doing a bad video and taking the feedback from that and improving it and doing the same thing for every single video and you just doing volume for the sake of volume. Alex Hormosis talks about volume at such a scale that it's impossible to fail. But volume without feedback, it's just volume and you will not improve in any way whatsoever. And then you have a channel with 100 videos which each get like 1 view. You don't want that. So opposed to this, you can do 1 long form a week, maybe 3 to 7 short forms every single week, depending on where you're at. And stick to that, because if you apply the 80-20 principle, so for example, the 80-20 principle, it's the 20% of output you have to do to get the 80% of the results. You doing 80% of your maximum output with content, it's worth the ego strike, rather as you try to push for more and push, trying to get to 10 long forms a week and 100 short forms a week, and then you're just burning at it, then you can't do shit. So take the ego hit and just do the 80% of what you can do, because that's going to result in a good, consistent, performative system, which is not going to burn you out, rather as you try to do everything by yourself and everything every single day. So for example, like a 10 long forms a week and 100 short forms every single week, you're going to burn out, you're not going to want to do anything, and then you're fucked forever because you burned out, then you have a dead channel and you can't do anything right, So just take the ego hit, because I know as a business owner and especially as a guy on self-improvement and that kind of stuff, you always want to push for more, of course. But with content, that doesn't necessarily mean more content. It just means better content. So instead of taking that energy and putting it into more content, why not just take that same energy and try to make your current content as good as it can be? The fifth thing is, views without any kind of conversion mean absolutely nothing in the B2B space. So before I was talking about like 2,000 views who are qualified buyers, rather as to 100,000 views, but no one wants to buy from you. Now, most people fall into the trap of having 2,000 views, but none of them are buyers. So you get the worst of both worlds. But that's not necessarily your fault. It just means you have a bad system of doing content. So a good conversion system would look something like I did in the hook before. I said, my name is this, I work in this, my speciality is this, I get people from this to this result. I've worked with this kind of person, this kind of person, this kind of person. And if you do that right, it's kind of hard to explain, but think about like if you're watching a show or playing a video game or something along those lines, and someone mentions your name in it, you know, that kind of ticks you in a specific way, which is only unique to you, because like, oh, that's my name, he mentioned me. So you do that in your hook. So for example, you help lawn mowing businesses, and if you say that in your hook, that's gonna kind of tick your lawn mowing fans in a certain way, which is like, oh, he's speaking to me, he's speaking directly to me, he must have something interesting to say and something informative to say, you know, rather as you just generally just going into the video without kind of qualifying the viewers first. So having an essential hook, clear CTAs, an outro which clearly outlines the next step is crucial if you actually want to have those 2,000 views of yours be potential buyers and be converted into the buyers. Because you having those 2,000 views doesn't necessarily mean they're of the wrong demographic. It just means they haven't been conversed yet into a potential buyer, you know? So the compounding effect of those things I just mentioned are, you have clear CTAs, you have clear hooks, you first qualify the viewer before they get into the video. You have a video where the topic is something that you know your clients or potential buyers struggle with. And you do that in a consistent way, not trying to push yourself to your absolute limit. Even if you could do that, you don't do that. And that result, if you do that for 6 to 9 months, is going to result in a great funnel, which is going to get more traffic into your sites, more potential buyers, and overall just make your life a hell of a lot better. But saying that, if you do all that, like I said, it's going to take 6 to 9 months to actually get like good results. Now, implementing everything I just said, you have a hook which qualifies the prospects before they actually watch the video and gets rid of everyone else. And 2, having a topic which you know is good because your ICP has been asking for it, either in sales calls or you working together nonetheless. And you do that content in a consistent way where you're not burning yourself out by doing 100%. You're going around 80 to 70% of your maximum output. That way it's consistent and it's easy, and it's not necessarily easy, but it's more simple. And you do that for 6 to 9 months, you're going to have great results for your funnel, and you're going to have a hell of a lot easier time booking calls for your business. Now, that being said, it's gonna take you 6 to 9 months, and that 6 to 9 month period is gonna have different challenges for almost every single day. For example, you're not gonna know what ideas to create, perhaps. Maybe you don't have the calls yet to know what your audience actually wants. Maybe you're new to this. You don't know what you specifically need to talk about to get those first couple of calls in which you can actually, you know, get the pain points in. So what we do is we take care of all of that. We do the editing, SEO, thumbnail, everything, ideation, everything. So you have to spend like 2 to 4 hours a month or a week just recording the content, and that's pretty much it. So if you want to, the first link in the description is going to take you to my site. In there, we tell you how we can help you in SEO, ideation, editing, thumbnail, everything else. So all you just have to do is just record the videos, and that's pretty much it. So if you want more about that, click the first link, and hopefully this video helps. Bye.